Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our monthly Vision Possible Q&A.
Hello. Well,
we need more of a fanfare. That wasn't bad. We need welcome to our Q&A, and confetti's got to drop and stuff. I'm so glad you guys are here. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so glad you all are joining us on Facebook and on YouTube and on XOTV and wherever you may be tonight. We are live taking your questions. So before we get into stuff, let me just put up the instructions how you can send in your questions. Just put it down there at the bottom. You can text in your question.
Carrier pigeon. Big fan of carrier pigeon.
That's always an option. Text at VP question to 81010. Follow the prompts. You can text your question or just comment if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube. So lots of ways to get your question in. We are going to be taking them all live today. But before we do, does anyone have anything to just start off with? Like any words that you have for our audience this month before we start?
Go ahead, Julieann.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to really just thank you all for coming on every month. I mean, I know not everybody has been able to do that, but I really do believe that with consistency, you'll start to see your own self making some consistent choices as well.
Yes.
I think that we give a lot of information on these live broadcasts, and they're really, these are not just ideas that we have, or we read a book and we're telling you about it. We've actually experienced it, lived it ourselves. So we know what works and what doesn't work. We don't know everything, but we know a lot of things, especially when you've got, Butch and I in our later 50s. Well, yes, our later 50s. And then we have,
oh my gosh, we've got Ryan, later 50s.
We have Ryan, Carly, and Nathaniel,
who don't even add up to our ages combined.
Yes, in their 20s and 30s, and 40s for Ryan. But anyway, I think we have a really good display of all ages that are doing all things at different levels in their life. And so I believe that we have a really good team here that can help you. So please, I'm just encouraging you to stay on this platform and to get as much of the teachings as you can, but also make sure you come to these Q&As because they're free and you don't even have to buy anything. You just get it.
And we are currently in the process of working on a video series that you guys can download for your very, very own. And that will be something that's really cool. It'll be a little more elaborate teaching from Julieann and myself as we discuss what Vision Possible is all about and how to make your dreams become a reality. That's what we're all about. So we're excited you're here.
Daydream your day job.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, we've got so many resources out there. For those of you who might be joining us for the first time, I just wanted to mention, visionpossible.net is kind of like the place you can go to learn about all we do. But, our heart is really to just see your vision become reality, whatever that looks like. If you've got a daydream right now, our slogan is your daydream can become your day job, right? So what you have in your heart, it can get out of your head, into your heart, and into the marketplace, and it can happen. So I just want to encourage you guys as we get into questions today, not everything might relate to you, right? Some questions might be about business. Others might be about writing books. Others might be about marketing. And you're like, how does all this relate? Well, I encourage you out of every question, try to find one or two nuggets that you can take away, because no matter what you're doing, if you're writing a book, you're going to need a business savvy, you're going to need marketing, right? If you're starting a business, you may need to learn how to create literature for your business, right? And do marketing. So there's always, skills that you can glean, things you can glean, takeaways that you can take away with you. Wow, that's great. And hopefully you can walk away after this hour with some really tangible
use the word glean. We got to use the word glean.
Glean, that's right.
It's just like clean, but with a G.
Exactly. So guys, send in your questions. We're ready. Facebook, YouTube, or you can text in your question at VP question to 81010. I'm going to throw that information down at the bottom there.
Do it, buddy.
And we are going to get...
You're a wonderful host.
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's kind of the host with the most, and you have a blazer on too.
Yes, you do.
Adds credibility.
I
It
do.
does add blue.
Matching the blue.
Yes, I think the three of us have blue on, so that's a good color.
I love how Carly has a sideways halo next to her head. But she moved it to the side so she could fit into the frame.
I think it's a portal for all the good things that you attract into your life, Carly.
It could be that. It could be a portal.
Something that Dr. Strange would make on the wall.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes, Doctor Strange. Don't mess with Doctor Strange. He had a vision and he made it a reality. That's for sure.
He is, and now he's the guardian of the vision forevermore.
That's
All right. Well, we've got a few questions coming in. Oh, before I jump into this, Carly, is there anything you want to share?
Well, I just wanted to touch on, I did a conference in Nashville last weekend, and just wanted to inspire you to know that literally whatever your vision is, you can do it. I literally got people to a conference that I did not fully know what it was, but just stepped out in faith and did it. And it was a wonderful turnout, and I'm very grateful. And so you can check it out on my Instagram, but I just share that to say that people will believe in your vision the more that you believe in it, and you just need to take that step. So I just encourage you that no matter what your vision is, plan out what the next few steps are going to be, but more importantly, make sure you know what your first step is to get it done, because that can always be the most intimidating one.
well done. And if you guys knew what's going on with Carly in her life, she's excelling so well at her job right now, and just so many great things are happening. I know I'm her dad, and I'm not lying or bragging. I'm just giving you facts. I wish I could go into more detail, but there's just so many great things happening with her because of the fact she's focused on her vision so long, and she does it every day. Not only does she have her own vision, but she comes alongside other people with visions and helps them get theirs off the ground too. And that's the most important, exciting thing too. At the beginning, you need to learn how to bring other people's vision into, I guess, to fruition, you would say, to make sure that people can get theirs off the ground, because you really do reap what you sow. And that's what she's doing right now. It's really cool.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, you're welcome. There you go. It's what I do.
Can you turn your sound off your phone?
Is that me?
No.
That
I
wasn't
think
me.
that might actually be me. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Do not
Well,
disturb.
Mr. Host.
Do not disturb mode getting
You
turned
thought it was the
on
older
now.
person doing that?
You thought it was the super old person?
No,
Ha.
I love how you just assume. That's awesome. All right. Hey, I've got our first question for us. And I think this is actually a really good question considering what's happened in the last week in the entertainment industry. And so
I haven't heard a thing. What's happened? I haven't heard one thing.
Well, let me lead with the question, and it'll be obvious in everyone's mind of what's going on.
Okay, sure.
So this is a question that came in from text message. Do you feel that people in the entertainment industry, specifically in highly visible positions, should they worry about the example that they set? Butch, this one's for you. Or Julieann.
Well, no. Do I think people in the entertainment industry in high-level positions should worry about the example they set? Everybody listen, pay close attention. Yes, 100% yes. There's no variation on that. Now, listen, everybody is not perfect. People might not set the greatest example, but they should always try to set something positive. Obviously, not everybody's going to be, like I said, not everyone's going to be perfect. You might make a mistake. You might say something silly. You might have some strange behavior. But if your everyday mindset is to go out there and make a positive influence, then you can really, really make a difference in the world. Absolutely, 100%. You definitely have to, because you're going to get in that position and people are going to follow you. Little kids want to be like you. People strive to emulate you and do what you want and be who you are. And they want to be you. And if you set a bad example, they're going to follow that just as much as they would a good example.
Yeah, and also I would like to add to that too. It's not just people in entertainment. I mean, if you would consider TikTok and Instagram, and YouTube famous, I mean, like where are we saying famous? Are we saying famous like on TV or what does that mean? Because that has definitely changed throughout the years. That
Right.
There are YouTube stars out there that the girls will scream and like the Beatles, and Butch and I wouldn't even, well, he would, because he knows TikTok. And
You mean as far as YouTube stars?
yeah, but I might go, who is that?
Right.
Like, who is that? So, but do they all influence? Yes.
That's why they're
And
called
they're called influencers.
for a reason.
And they are called that for a reason. So what are they influencing kids to do, other kids? Remember, I mean, you are responsible for how you influence. Are you making people stumble, or are you making people be successful, encouraging them? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. But see, a lot of people want to go for some of the more out like crazy stuff because they get attention doing it. But then there's going to be somebody out there that's going to follow what you are doing and will follow exactly in your footsteps. And maybe that's not the right route for them. So anyway,
Right.
that's my feeling about it.
That's
Very good.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, it's kind of a principle. I mean, you all know this who's watching, but when there's you know, when you rise to the top of your industry, or when you start to do things that become more and more visible, I mean, by default, people are going to want to do that because they're looking to you as a mentor. Like, there's other people who want to rise to the top of your industry, and
Let me-
that's even at what's that?
I'm sorry, Nathaniel, please finish. I have something to say when you're done.
Oh, and whether that's a publicly visible figure or whether that's just at your job, like look at it from a perspective, like you're at work, maybe you've got people under you, maybe you've got a peer team, maybe you've got folks over you, and as you accomplish things, as you get projects done, you do those successfully, people are going to start watching, and that's a good thing. And so, yes, watch how you're being perceived. Be aware of the words coming out of your mouth, because people are, whether you realize it or not, people are watching.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you know, my show, I've actually gotten to a point in my career where people actually know who I am. And this is not to say, oh my gosh, I'm so important. But given the length of time I've been in the industry, and my cartoons actually have reached a level where people actually know them. You know, my cartoon got to a certain level back in 2018. I left Nickelodeon. I was there for 20 years, but now my cartoon is back. Fairly Odd Parents has been turned into a live action show that's now on Paramount Plus. You guys should watch it on Paramount Plus. It's on right now. All 13 episodes are streaming. But look at this. Not only was I able to influence a generation of kids 20 years ago, I can now influence more kids because the project, or their kids, because the project keeps living on. And that is the biggest blessing right there. So you might have that same opportunity, and you don't want to, you know, we'll just use the Oscars last week. I'm not going to name any names, but what happened at the Oscars last week when the individual did something to the other individual, that person who did the confrontation now has to live that down for the rest of their life. They have to dig themselves out of that hole for the rest of their life. And that video is on the internet now forever. That will be the legacy that person leaves behind. Forget all the great movies, forget all everything.
Well, you would
that's
hope
the
that
memory.
You hope
that'll be the biggest memory.
Yeah.
This really, that is a giant thing they have to overcome now, and that's a shame.
Yeah, that's so true. Hey, look who we have joining us. Ryan has finally been able to make it on. I think there were some technical problems there for a minute.
Ryan, are you in a different time zone? Ryan, are you in Korea? What's going on?
No, I'm apparently in a part of the world that doesn't allow Google Chrome to get onto StreamYard for some reason, randomly for the first time ever. So
Ryan made his vision possible by getting on Google Chrome. Well done, Ryan.
Yeah. So I'm on my phone right now, but hopefully you guys can see and hear me okay.
We can see you perfectly.
Yeah.
Dude, we can totally hear you and see you.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see you guys. I've been laying down some great wisdom and questions. Sorry I couldn't be there on camera, but I appreciate the dialogue.
You are on. Well, it's okay, bro. It's okay. Did we insult Ryan when he was off camera? We didn't insult him.
No, we did not.
We were just talking, Ryan, how important it is not to slap people on national television.
Yes,
I heard that.
naming names.
It was an opportune time to jump into the conversation.
No, just how, like, as you go higher in the industry and as you go higher in your calling, like, you become more visible, and you need to be careful of what you do and the perception people have of you. So,
hey, I'd like to address, Peter just asked us about OAxis.
Yes.
And I don't know, Peter, were you on last month? Because we did address it, but I just want you to know that every day we work towards OAxis. There's not the 5 days a week. So there's not a work week that goes by that we're not either researching, having meetings, talking, looking at content, all of that stuff. So just know that behind the scenes, and you're not a broken record at all.
Yeah, you can ask us anytime.
Please, because no one really realizes how much is involved in creating a platform that looks like ours. It has a business plan and like ours, and all the stuff that we want to put on it. So it does take time, but thank you for always asking. We appreciate it.
And there's a lot of platforms out there that have come and gone in the last 2 or 3 years, and they've vanished because there weren't any roots set down. There wasn't a good foundation. I can think of one huge one that had billions of dollars behind it that ended up vanishing because it came and went. But it had billions of dollars, it had big, huge, notable people. And someone needs to mute their phone, by the way. I'm hearing noises. had multiple huge people behind it and billions of dollars, and it failed because it was not prepped properly. So that's what we're trying to do.
So we don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that, you know, what we're putting out there is what the people, what is needed and what's necessary.
Yep.
So, but thank you for always asking, because we love that. You know, it's like we feel sometimes no one even remembers OAccess or that we're even doing it, but yes, we are. And you can keep praying for us to find the right people to come alongside of us to help us.
No, Ryan has not only shown up, he shows up with a broken phone. So we're just glad he's here, though.
When it rains, it pours, huh?
That's all right. It's okay. So what else?
Now you have the thing in your face.
I know I have the logo in my face. There's a logo
way.
right there.
There you go.
It's part of your hair. It's just an ounce. You know?
It's the Johnny Bravo look.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Johnny Bravo.
That's nice. All right.
Next question.
So,
yeah, here's another question. This is a good one. This came in via text as well. What do I do when I have little or no motivation?
Well,
take that one. Go, Julieann.
No, one of you guys can take that too, because we all can wake up and have that feeling. You know, I'll tell you something. Sometimes it's circumstantial. I know somebody that is so motivated all the time. And I mean all the time. It's like you want that person around you because they just make you happy, because they're so happy and they're always wanting to do more and just be so involved. Well, there's been some things going on at the office that haven't been as pleasant. And for the first time, this individual came to me and said, I woke up and thought, I don't want to go to work today. And the next day came and I don't want to go to work that day either. And it was like for a week. And so they said to me, like, what do? I feel so unmotivated. And so I just want to let you know that sometimes it's not just you going, you know, I just don't feel like it today. But a lot of it has to do with the circumstances of your life. And in this case, it was the circumstances at the office that was making this person feel like they just didn't want to, you know, deal with everything. So what they wanted to do was just leave their job. But, you know, we talked because we all do coaching. I'm a coach for this person. And so, you know, this is a better week this week already, starting today.
It will get better, guys.
It will get better. But what you have to do, though, is it can't be based on circumstance. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be up one day, down the next. It's like you're going to be going through the valleys and the mountains. Sometimes it's going to be low mountains like here in California, and then some are going to be like in Colorado, Pikes Peak. How do we get ourselves to where we are just even Steven and not allowing those ups and downs? You know, we have a church that we do in the park. We have a congregation that meets in the park every Sunday. We've been working on something called spiritual maturity. And as we started really researching and getting our sermons and stuff like that, man, we were like, wow, there is so much involved in spiritual maturity. The same thing I'm saying is to the person that asked this question. When maturity does not say go up and down as the days go. Maturity says to you, I know that I'm going to get through this. So I'm going to change my attitude. I'm going to change, not that you have an attitude about it, but I'm going to make my words bring joy to me, that bring encouragement to myself, and bring myself up so that I'm not going down into the dips. So again, this motivation thing can be circumstantial. And or maybe you just don't feel like you're a real motivated person. Well, something must motivate you. You know, you might even be motivated to sit on the couch every day, but you do have motivation. It's just in the wrong areas.
And that's why that's really good. Like with my life and how I operate, I like to make sure that I remember my why. And I know that's kind of on brand and probably annoying for me to say because I say that literally all the time. But when you are feeling unmotivated because of whatever circumstance, or like for this person, you love your job, but you're so unmotivated by what's going on day after day after day. Well, if you remember your why, you'll always do your what. That's what I say all the time. So if you can go back to why you're there, why you're building this skill, why you're in this role, nothing can stop you. Now, obviously, there's certain situations that it's just like literally impossible to, like there's just weird things. Every situation's different. But say that it's just that perspective shift, or say it's just reminding yourself of why you're there, why God put you there, why you are pursuing this one dream in particular, because it's going to advance you to the next thing. And that'll keep you motivated to know, hey, I need to just switch in my perspective. But there's also the practical thing you can do. Maybe it's waking up an hour earlier and just setting your day right before the day sets you. So how can you prioritize your day by waking up earlier, maybe? Or if you do a night routine type thing, staying up a little bit past you would normally stay up to really like lock in what you got out of today, what you're grateful for, and just set the tone of the day or ending the tone of the day. That way you can set your mind right and be like, no, I'm going to prep before this day tells me what's going to happen.
I think a lot of people sign up for business or they sign up for a job because they have a specific reason to be there. And like Carly was just saying, like, what are you going to put before you? And so a lot of times, maybe you're passionate and your vision is to start a business. But once you start a business, you realize that it's not just all about the thing that you were excited to do. Maybe let's use this as an example. Let's say you want to start a bakery because you love baking. But then as you get into it, the bakery becomes bigger and now you have to hire people and now they're doing the baking and now you're just doing spreadsheets and you're just doing marketing and you're just managing the POS system. You're just managing customers and the bank accounts and all that. And so you start to lose your motivation. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? It's becoming a grind. And what I found really works for me, because as I've done different things in my life, especially right now in my full-time job, it's like, man, sometimes it's just the day after day, the 9 to 5, the over and over, just doing the same thing. And I can lose sight of what inspires me and what motivates me, which is ministry, which is seeing lives change, which is seeing lives transform. So sometimes I just need to come out of my office and walk down and meet with people who may be at one of our conferences or events, or in your case with the bakery, right? You could come out of the office and come out into the front and maybe go in early and help out and start baking again, or go and work the register and see people enjoying those baked goods, right? But find a way to reconnect back to what excites you, what rekindled the vision in the first place. So when you start to lack motivation, it's like going back to that why. It's going back to that, what is that passion you've got? And there's always going to be things that are necessary to your purpose, but may not fall right in line with your purpose. So what I mean by that, and this is talked about in like motivational circles as total immersion. But basically the idea is when you've got something that you're passionate about, you have all these other things that need to happen, like maybe traveling to your destination or doing marketing or doing, finance, whatever. All those things are necessary. How do you tie those back to your heart motivation and what encourages you? And you can do that by just reminding yourself, what is my why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? But that's a great.
Ryan, what about you?
I think one of the things, and I'm totally speaking to myself here, is just getting back into a regular routine, like getting up, going to the gym first thing. I know that's healthy for me. Everybody's got their different routine, but, just eating healthy, getting a good night's sleep, having a structure to my day, getting out and seeing people, like, especially in this kind of like COVID and post-COVID work from home, a lot of structure and like traditional things that I think are pretty healthy are easy to do without or lose track of. And I find it hard to stay in a rut if I know that I'm, working out, I've got good energy, I'm healthy, I'm doing all these things that nobody can stop me from doing, or that's totally within my control. And that can bleed over into, just general energy levels, psychology, emotions. And then, of course, adding on top of what everybody else said, going back to the why is so important. But I think there's those little daily habits that can really make a big difference too.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And, sometimes when like little things come up, it's like this morning I was like, okay, I'm going to get up an hour extra early this morning because I had so many things going on earlier than I normally do. But at 5:30 this morning, all electricity went off in our whole neighborhood. So,
and the reason we know this, I got up to read my Bible. I sat in my normal chair, and normally I go to put the reclining seat up, and it wouldn't go up. Click, 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 click. And I'm like, what's going on? And there's like a hum in the house it wasn't here. I went, whoa, and I looked out the window and everything was completely out. Had I stayed in bed, I never would have known it was it.
And I'm looking at the alarm clock going, wait, where is the alarm clock? Because Butch has one on his side. I'm like, did he knock it down? Like, where's the alarm clock? Because I like to know what time it was because I wanted to get up. Anyway, but like that just kind of messed things up a little bit.
That threw me off today.
It did. And so it didn't come on for like 3 hours.
I had to churn the butter by hand. I had to go gather drinking water at the river.
I was going to say that affected you because you couldn't put your feet up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Couldn't put my feet up. It was hell, I tell you.
Well, but I'm just saying that, sometimes those things happen. My mom lives with us, and it's like there's been days where we get up and I'm ready to walk out the door to go on my walk, and I get a text, my water's not hot. Okay. Now that sends me into, I got to call the plumber, and like things will happen. But like I just said about the no motivation thing, what do you do with it? Do you allow it to ruin your day? Or do you say, no, I'm not going to. I know that God is going to help me work this whole thing out. I know the outcome of my day is going to be good, regardless of what it feels like right now.
It's got to be about the end result, not the feeling you're feeling right now.
Because that will, if we succumb to how we feel, 5 or 6 hours are going to go by, and then you're really going to be mad at yourself because you didn't even get anything done. But again, it's like you have an apartment. Well, you call them you call the maintenance people. You have a house. You got to handle it yourself. And I think Nathaniel can attest to that because he has his own house, and Carly too. So things like that do happen. But how do we reroute? Like when you've got your maps on and you went past the exit and then it says reroute. You don't hear Siri go or the thing, oh my God, you went the wrong way. You missed it.
That would actually help me a lot.
Wouldn't that be great?
I'd probably screw up a lot.
But you just go, it's very calm. Reroute. Okay, I need to reroute. So how do you need to reroute your day so that you don't let all this stuff get to your emotions? And now you're wasting even more time because you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to do next.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things, all of us feel lack of motivation. It's a feeling. Okay. It's temporary. Don't be governed by your feelings. Julieann did a great job of saying that, but I'm just reemphasizing that a little stronger. Don't let feelings govern you, because if you let that happen down the road, man, that's going to create bad muscle memory, bad habits in your life. And I can't tell you how many times I don't feel like logging on and doing something. I'm not talking about this. This was awesome tonight.
No.
I think you're talking about this. I think I'm totally offended. That's what I think.
No.
Tweet at us.
Well, let me ask you a question. I know we need to move on to questions.
We do.
But Carly, you're a leader in your thing, in your company, and Nathaniel, and we own our own company. So yes, and Brian, you also are too.
Ryan's got a phone.
Right, but if there's something going on in your department, and it's like grueling to try to figure out what the problem is, and then you've got to maybe talk to fellow employees about how they're not doing a good job. And these are the things that goes, oh, I don't feel like doing any of this right now, right? So, maybe you guys can speak to that. What motivates you to say, no, I have to. This is part of my job. I can't keep letting it go each day when so-and-so's not doing their job, or I've got all these reports to get in, or I've got to get this amount of money in each month. Like, tell me, how do you handle that?
That's so easy to me. And I'll let Carly speak to this. It's so easy for me. I ask myself, if not me, then who? Like, if I don't deal with this right now, it's going to continue like this.
Have you always been that way, or how did you learn to get that way?
No, I learned to get this way because for a while I was always like, I'm going to fly under the radar. I'm going to let someone else deal with that, someone else's problem. But when you live that way long enough, and it keeps coming back around to you, and this issue keeps occurring, right? And it keeps rearing its head. Every new project you do, every new new initiative and that's my world is projects, right? But every single project, I'm seeing the same repeatable pattern. Then it's my responsibility to go to that person and just present facts and say, hey, here are the facts. Here's what I'm seeing. How can we work on this? And my thing my rule of thumb is don't go further than the relationship will allow, right? So I build a relationship intentionally with that person, and then I can make emotional deposits or relationship deposits from that account because I've built up that account. Like relationships, like a bank account, right? You put in, and then you can make withdrawals. And so if you're intentional about putting in, then when it goes to making that withdrawal and dealing with that issue and addressing that lack of motivation and addressing those issues, you can do that confidently, knowing that you still have a relationship there.
And I think what Butch said is critical. It's about the final outcome, not just the way you feel in the moment. And I would say last week was probably one of the most stressful, frustrating weeks and couple of days in my life, or at least in my, job recently of what I do, which I normally love, but it was just extremely stressful, frustrating. Everything that could have gone wrong did, and we just had to keep going forward. But finally, everything got through on Friday afternoon, and I realized, wow, we got everything through. I saw, what my paycheck was going to be from that next day, and looking at it, I was like, wow, that was a really tough couple days, but it all worked out beautifully. We got everything done we needed to. And there's definitely, a very tangible reward to this that I almost couldn't believe. But let me tell you, the way I felt, during the middle of the week was not at all the way I felt at the end of the week. And I think that's a really important perspective that Butch brought up, is that to really keep focused on the final outcome and not just the frustration or how you feel in the moment. And then having to, in the moment, deal with, people or situations that need to be addressed and not just let them go.
Amen. Amen.
Carly, did you want to speak to that before we took the next question?
I think I'm good. I'm still really working in this area, so I probably don't have the best advice to give, but you guys crushed it.
Awesome. See, guys, we are real.
We are.
That's what's awesome about Vision Possible.
No editing. No editing.
Exactly.
That's right. So I got a question here. Another question from Peter. Probably a quick question for you, Butch, but are you doing commissions again?
That is definitely a question from Butch. Is anyone else?
That's for me, yeah. I'm not doing any commissions right now. I have taken a break. I have too much other work to do. And as much as I love doing commissions, as much fun as it is, because I just get to play all day and do drawings people love, custom ones, I just can't do it right now. It's just a time factor. So I had to kind of pull that away for a bit, but I might go back to it in a little while. You never know.
Yeah, he just loves doing it. But we have to, talk about these things, especially on Vision Possible, but you really need to decide what is a priority. And we have other things that we're working on that are demanding his time.
And and having to stop that to draw pictures for people is, although I love drawing, I just didn't have the time. So but thank you for asking, Peter.
I know, Peter, thanks.
Yeah, but that's a lesson for everyone watching. Like, there's some things that sometimes you enjoy, some things that you really like to do, but you have to say no because you need to make time for the best. So, prioritization at the end of the day is just saying no to the good things to be able to say yes to the best.
Because this new project coming up demands, like you said, so much of my time, but it's such an important project, and it'll leave such a lasting legacy, I believe, on the audience, that it really needs as much time as I can devote to it now. So that's why.
Exactly. All right. So this is a question from Tony Oni Savage. This is Tony here. Question for Butch. If you created a theory for an existing feature film and you want to share it with the studio that made it, would the creators accept it and use it for a future project? Like if your theory is for a sequel of a franchise or a spin-off.
Right. That's a really good question. Like for let's say you have an idea for a new Spider-Man movie, right? That's great. You got a new adventure for Spider-Man. You want to go pitch that to Sony or even Disney.
Yeah.
Sony owns the project, but Disney sometimes makes the Marvel movies that star Spider-Man. You have to find a way to get to the studio and have them listen to you, whether it's a spin-off or whatever, because movies at that level, movies that are already existing, if you have there's a lot of money already sunk into that project, and they're only going to trust people they know or people with a reputation to come up with a new version. Let's go to Guardians of the Galaxy. The first Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody expected it to do as great as it did. It did fantastic, so they made a sequel. They went right back to the original team for the sequel. They're gonna the first group that made it did great. Let's stick with that group. It's extremely hard, not impossible, but it's extremely hard to walk in off the street and sell a movie. And trust me, you're talking to a guy who tried it many, many times. I did sell some movies, though. I did. I sold some screenplays. They've never been made, but I sold them. but it's extremely difficult to walk in cold. You need an agent, and you're also going to need a reputation, a body of work people can look at.
Yeah.
You're going to need like something you've done. And if you're a filmmaker or a writer and you're in your 20s, you need to start making stuff of your own on YouTube, something. If you're in your 50s and haven't made anything, I strongly suggest you begin to make stuff people can look at, because you really need to start building up a portfolio so people can know what you're made of and if they can trust you or not.
Yeah.
Great answer. And this is kind of a related question in a way. This is from Johnny. He's curious, how involved have you been in the new Fairly Odd Parents series?
Very good question. This is a series where I'm sort of the Stan Lee. I'm sort of involved as an overseer. I kind of oversee the whole thing. But again, it came down to a situation where I didn't have a ton of time to be involved in this series. And as wonderful as Nickelodeon is, and they've been great to me, I just said, you guys take it, run with it, and have a wonderful time.
So good.
It actually premiered last Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'm not as involved as I was on the cartoon, but I still am involved, but not nearly as involved.
Well, what's so great is that it's his baby. Like, he's the one that birthed.
Oh, it's my kid. It's my child. Yeah. I'm like, how's he doing?
It's the son we never had.
Did he call? Does he need anything? Yeah.
But please, if everybody gets a chance, please go watch. It is so cute. We laughed. I mean, seriously, it was just us, and we were laughing. So it's not just for kids.
Because the live actors are really nice, and they also combine the animation in there.
Yeah,
it's very fun. It's like watching a live cartoon.
It's awesome. We got a question from Learn How to Draw Hub. The question is this: when I was growing up, the dream job was becoming an actor for Disney or Nickelodeon. It seemed that more people now would be rather influencers or entrepreneurs. What do you think caused this? I think that's a great question.
I know exactly what caused this. It takes forever to get jobs on those networks.
Yeah. You
can just take your phone and become a star.
Yep.
So that's exactly why. People don't realize. People think that, they think that it's like, oh, they became a star overnight. No, they didn't. It was not an overnight thing. Okay, this is
It's never overnight.
Pre all that. It's never overnight. It's years and years of acting classes, dancing classes, commercial classes, casting director classes, lots of money, all of that
heartbreak
over and over and over. So why not go for something that I can control, that I can make, right?
Right.
So that's the reason why.
Like, for example, we use Jake Paul, for example. Like, Jake Paul was an actor on a Disney series for a little while, but he had far more success on his own YouTube channel, something that he would just make stuff up every day and do videos. He would post videos every single day.
But that in itself, though, it's a lot of work as well. So don't think that you might have one viral video, but you've got to keep it going or people will not come back. So
yeah, I was just going to say, like, in today's day and age, whoops, I clicked the wrong button. Yeah, in today's day and age, like the amount of effort to continually pump onto a channel to compete with the big boys is impressive. Like, these folks who have these major channels have dozens and dozens of staff editing videos, putting them up. They have multiple
you don't know
channels.
that. People don't realize that. They're thinking that they're just using iMovie or something like that on their little laptop after they shoot something. No. They've got staffs of people doing this.
Like, I know some of the guys who are part of the Mr. Beast channel, and just the massive growth of Mr. Beast over the past couple of years. But he's got several.
He's about to take over PewDiePie's spot as the #1 subscribed YouTuber
in a very short amount of time. But his production, his studios, like, he's got a whole sound stage, multiple buildings. Like, it's a.
That's exactly what you need. Now, you don't have to start off that way, but you definitely need people helping you for sure. Hey, there's a question there from Ara, the analog kid. Would you ask that question, please, Nathaniel?
Wait, really fast.
Yeah.
I have a little nugget. Really quick. Yeah. You mentioned Jake Paul, and I just wanted to share this to encourage people. A fun fact, in 2014, I had my own magazine called Rich Youth Magazine. Very bad name. But I started it when I was 18 years old, and I had to stop it because I got too busy with everything else. But it actually was like a really big like it was becoming big and I had an intern work for me. And fun fact, I just found this to show everyone. This is Jake Paul that I interviewed before he was famous on
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
February 1st,
Wow.
2014. And I said, do it for the Vine featuring Jake Paul is now online. And
That's
this
amazing. Oh God, Carl, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
My God.
But I think it's all gone now online because obviously I haven't been on the site in like almost 10 years. But fun fact, I did not get nervous to reach out to this man who was famous on Vine at the time.
Yeah.
And got him on my magazine. So what is a step that you can take today that might be scary to you, but you never know because he could be the next Jake Paul. And
Yeah.
now
That was a great insertion, Carly. Good
really
call.
was.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool.
That is
Right. I'll just say this one thing. We'll go to the next question. But, what you focus on, you're going to become. So, the question was saying, why did everyone want to become a Disney Channel star and a Nickelodeon star? And then now everyone wants to be a YouTube influencer. Well, what you look at, you're going to become. So back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s, YouTube wasn't as popular as it was today. Everyone watched, Nickelodeon. Everyone watched Disney. So they wanted to become a Disney star. It's just like Cole's comment here. People back in the 60s, kids wanted to be astronauts. Why? Because they saw the moon landing, because they saw astronauts being popularized, right? And so it's because people, whatever you focus on, you're going to become. And so as the new generation watches that, now watch what's coming, right? Watch as TikTok is increasing and all these other channels are increasing. What's going to be the next thing that people are going to trend towards? All right, Butch, now we can ask the question.
Yes.
So here's a question from Analog Kid 97. Great question. Question from Ara. Ara is one of Butch's students in the recent mentorship program.
I know Ara very well. Ara's a great
Hi,
guy.
Ara. What an amazing guy he is.
Nice, awesome dude.
So the question is, are NFTs worth doing and creating? It seems to be split between support or uncertainty on all of it. Great question.
I'm interested to hear your answer to this, Butch, since it's spanning your world and mine. And I've been hearing a lot about this too, so I'm very curious to hear your response on this.
Everyone can jump in on this, by the way. NFT is basically the new, I guess you'd call it the new form of making money right now. Everyone says it's a new. It's half art, it's half crypto, it's half.
It's not really there, but
it's cyber art, meaning you can take any image and make a cyber version of it. And for some reason, some of these things go viral, and it might cost you $1 to make it, but you could sell it for 80, 90, sometimes $1 million, right? $1,000 or $1 million. Here's what happened. My experience with NFTs really quickly in the last year and a half, I've had everyone on earth has come to me saying, you should do NFTs. And I just never felt settled about it, only because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know exactly. But everyone kept saying, you can make money fast. But I have learned making money fast is usually pretty terrible. It's very hard to make money very fast. It's also very hard to make honest money very fast. So I thought, well, let's just wait and see. So I've waited, and I've seen the market. I've seen it go up and down. I've had many talks with many people. We've talked to a ton of people. And I'm right now, I've not made an NFT simply because I'm waiting. And the what I would probably be best known for, my Nickelodeon stuff, I can't make NFTs of that stuff without getting Nickelodeon's approval. So I've got to make a partnership with them, which is a whole nother layer. I could make an original NFT of just a doodle or a character of my own. But again, I'm waiting to see if it's worth it. Because I have seen a lot of backlash. People have gotten backlash for making NFTs.
Yeah.
I don't know what the whole world is about. So I'm just kind of waiting to see where
for us, we would Nickelodeon and all those other companies, I think, are starting to climb on board with those, with shows like yours. And so I don't know like when this is going to happen, but I think you're going to see some stuff maybe in the future. But you know what? We really don't have time to do something like this right now because Butch, we're not, everybody contacted us to say like, oh my God, you can make, $50,000 overnight. Well, we've never done anything to get into a get rich quick scheme.
No.
And I'm not saying that NFTs are schemes, but we don't do things like that. Butch creates worlds. We don't create just a one-off to say like, hey, let's bring in some extra cash. That's not where we are. That's not where our mind is. And so, or our heart.
That's a really important point that both of you guys, just from a financial point of view, let alone NFT and, crypto and art, just that idea of not trying to go for the quick get rich, quick scheme, the overnight success. As they say, a fortune quickly made is usually a fortune easily and quickly lost. And it's that compound, day after day, just like consistency over time, decades, that really creates a lot of wealth. And it's no different, in business or, art or your hobby. I think that's such an important, principle that a lot of people in this day and age have lost, because everything's microwave, everything's quick, everything's, like people have seen just really, really unusual and atypical, things of so many people becoming millionaires literally overnight because of crypto and meme stocks and even getting into real estate and this just kind of inflated market. And I think
I want to know how many of those people are really millionaires.
Well, how many stayed that way?
Millionaires.
You can be a virtual millionaire, but also too, just like the lottery, if you don't know what to do with $100, what are you going to do if you get $60,000 overnight with your NFT? That can cause so many problems.
It's so true.
It's something that you build up to. You build your wealth, so you learn how to handle it. Right now I saw an there was an article I was reading about NFTs and cryptocurrency is driving the IRS crazy, right? Because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to track. Maybe, I'm sure there's a little element of that, but the IRS is going to get their money regardless. So I don't know if it's something, that they're going to really start coming down hard on. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is that, really check and find, like, why do you want to do this? Do you want to create a world? Do you want to do something that actually has substance? Or do you just want to do the one-off get rich quick? For us, that's not
we're not discouraging anybody else
at all.
Yeah. You guys can do whatever you want. But just for me, only because I have like a reputation and a career, I've got to be very watchful of the kind of things I put out there. So
I love what Tiffany Lang just said, and this is so true. Some people who say they want $1 million really just want to spend $1 million. It's so true, and that comes back to what you said, Julieann. So much wisdom.
The C is for correct.
Yeah. And what you said is so true, that sometimes getting a lot of money quickly when you haven't learned how to create and steward wealth over a long period of time, it can actually be the worst thing for you. Sometimes we consider that giving somebody a bigger shovel so they can dig a deeper hole faster, if they don't know how to use it. And I think that's happened with a lot of people. So just really, really good insight. And again, I don't have any really strong feelings either way about NFT, crypto, and art or anything. It's just the principles that you guys are talking about, particularly in finance, but also in life, are so important.
Yeah, I always like to tell people, like, if you're making a decision based off of money's your motivator in that decision. That is not going to be a good decision. You're going to blow up and then blow out. Like, that's what's going to happen, because money's your motivation. If you want to make NFTs to have art, to do different things, that's fine. And then at its core, I'll just say this, and I'll be done with it. Things like crypto, NFTs, the technology behind it is where the money is. So what do I mean by that? NFT is a utility. So NFT is a tool whereby anything, whether it be artwork or whether it be a virtual pass or text or any sort of digital asset, ones and zeros, right, can be verified and proven. And so I think where the future of NFTs is not in the artwork and the trading of the artwork. It's more in what the utility can do, right? It's more of a, hey, one day there can be digital wallets where all of your tickets for sporting events can be NFTs, and they can be proven, and you can track the sale and you can get commissions off of that. Like that's the technology. And if you can invest in that technology using more traditional methods, I think that's a safer bet than necessarily trying to do artwork, unless your heart is in actually creating the artwork and seeing that grow over time.
Sure. And listen, I might do an NFT sooner than later. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I want to make sure that it's done wisely with wisdom, and it's also. Well,
actually, we do have a show that we would definitely, if this is something that we feel led to do, he's created a show that's pretty amazing that we would
it would fit the NFT market very well.
We would create a universe for us. So we're just waiting. We'll let the Lord show us what to do.
Yeah. So I got a few more questions, and we got about 10 minutes left. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take this one from McCoy. Good to hear from you, McCoy.
McCoy.
See him in a few days. Excited about that. This is a great question, Carly. Maybe you can take this one. If someone is wanting to have a brand and influencer type Instagram account, would you suggest creating a separate business type account from scratch, or just use your personal Instagram and build from there? I'm glad he's asking this, because I actually have the same question. We're dealing with this right now with something I'm working on. Like, do I retitle the existing account, or do I recreate a new one and try to build it from scratch? What are the benefits or drawbacks to that?
Yeah, so I always recommend that you should have 2 separate accounts. Number one, your personal one being yourself. Like, people should fall in love with you before they're going to follow your brand. So I've had like clients before, like their account was a big mesh of both. And so of like their personal and their business, and they really, really needed a whole different account for their business because it was going to get too big too quick, and it would be really messy if it got any bigger. And so we had them split it up, and they completely funneled all of the business traffic to the new business account. And it was great because it was like highly targeted people that actually really wanted it and it cared. And so you can be, for myself, Carly Hartman, and then have like 4 other accounts that are your businesses. But I still talk about all my things on my account. But if people love me, they will most likely follow my stuff, as opposed to you just building your business Instagram and not like focusing on the personal side as well. So let me make sure I'm answering this correctly. But if it's for you to be an influencer, then I would keep it as your Instagram, your personal one. Like, I don't use like a private Instagram to post like my private memories or whatever. I like post a lot of my stuff on my story, and then I post my influencer stuff on my feed. So you can also organize it like that if you're just trying to be an influencer for your personal brand, like for yourself. I do that differently, but if you're going to have like a storefront or like an online business or whatever, you should definitely separate those out on a different Instagram account.
Well, that was worth the price of admission right there.
Yes.
All right, we got a question here from Rebecca Turner. She's asking, has the job market for an animator changed from 20 years ago to now? There is so much.
Take that question. Who's that question for?
Let me see. Take a pick. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You, sir.
Here's the thing. The job market has changed drastically, only because there's a lot more content out there. There really, truly is. I would suggest to you too. I'm not saying not to be an animator. You absolutely can be an animator if that's what you're passionate about. You want to do that. To me, being an animator is awesome, but being the writer and the storyteller is even more awesome, because people need great stories told as well. So I would encourage you as an animator to become a storyteller as well, not just.
So how would they do that? I mean, because what if, like, for instance, what if I'm really good at drawing, but I cannot tell a story?
Right, exactly.
Should they take classes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get you to expand your skill set, no matter when you can do it at whatever point. If you can get a job as an animator, that's great. And what kind of animation do you want to do? You need to write down what you want to do. Do you want to do traditional Disney animation that's 2D? I have news for you. They don't really do that anymore as much. Everybody has to know Flash. You have to know Flash animation. You have to know Maya. You have to know all of these computer programs to animate anymore. A few things, I'll see a few commercials on TV that are done like hand-drawn on paper animation. Really few and far between. If you want to have a steady gig where you're making money every week, you need to get onto a television show or some kind of a movie. And that's a weekly paycheck for a multiple month or year span. So if you're working like in a TV studio, you're not going to animate very often, because usually they'll animate overseas. But that's why I want to have you expand your skill set to learn how to do storytelling, learn how to do background art, learn how to do character designing, learn how to do more than just animating. But yeah, the job market's changed drastically. You don't have to say. And I used to have to go door to door with a portfolio in a briefcase. And I had to go from studio to studio, meeting people in person. Now you have to submit it online and wait. There's really no personal exchange anymore.
Yeah.
So your portfolio has to be outstanding. You can't talk your way through it, really. It's got to be outstanding. So really work on your portfolio and make it awesome.
And also, there are so many different production companies here in the United States. A lot of them are in Canada as well. In Nova Scotia, actually, there's a huge animation studio there. We've got animators that are working for us at that location as well. But, get on with the studio. You don't have to go overseas to do this because they got a lot of in-house people that are right here in the United States. So just get your stuff out there on whatever platforms are there to show your work so you can get a job in this business.
Exactly.
That's great. It's great advice. And yeah, I'm big about serving your way to the top, right? So if you can find a place that you can just sit under someone's tutelage and learn and just grow. And
once again, going back to the get rich quick thing, if you start at the top, you're going to crash instantly because you're not ready to be there yet. You need to learn,
exactly,
climb up. It really is true.
Well, guys, we've got a few minutes left. Before we jump off, I just want to see, does anyone have any closing thoughts that they want to leave folks with?
Someone asked me about mentorship real quick. Am I open to take new individuals for mentorship? Yes, at least for me. If you want to get a hold of me, just write to askbutchhartman@gmail.com, and one of my team will get back to you. We can arrange a mentorship program for you.
Yes, but just know that he can't take all of you. So
no. No, and I'm very selective.
He does it because he just loves to mentor people, which I don't blame. He wants to recreate himself, right, out there, and so which
it's
is
not
great.
that freaky. It's really not that.
No,
freaky,
but it's true though, because that's what kids are needing to hear from the older people that have that have the experience and have those shows under their belts and stuff. So that's really great that you are asking. So go ahead and at least apply, and then our assistant will get back to you about that. But I just wanted to end with this, that we really are in charge of our days. I know that we think that other things, dictate our days, but we really don't. I mean, they really don't. We are the ones that have control over our days. We have control over our mouth. The Bible says, Proverbs 18:21, that death and life in the power of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's like we have our mouth can either bless us and encourage us to keep moving, or it can also really try to convict us of maybe old habits that we did, or old things, or like you never made it before. Like, why do you think you're going to make it now? We can say a lot of negative things to ourselves, or just not even say it, but just believe it in your heads. Well, I'm telling you today that you have an opportunity to stop that. You can stop it today. You know what? Starting tonight is a good time to start a new attitude, a new way of talking. That when you are speaking death over something where you really like, well, I don't care about that, or I don't care about this, and it doesn't matter to me. Well, it does matter to you, and you really do care. But maybe out of insecurity or, whatever, or just frustration, you're acting like it doesn't matter. You need anybody on here that's doing anything, any kind of business. You need to be an influence in our world. You're, to bring in some good things into the society of things that are really going bad right now. So you have a big part to play. And, the Bible talks about the plan, which says, God says, the plans I have for you. I just want you to know something. There is a plan for you. There's a plan. There is a plan. So ask the Lord. If you don't know what it is, ask him, what is your plan for me? That there is one. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So ask the Lord, talk to him, ask him. He wants to answer you, but don't give up. Don't give up because you don't see things working out in your own strength. Try the Lord out. Try to talk to him, try him out. Let him encourage you and tell you how to go about doing certain things so you'll be successful, because all he wants to see for you is to be a success in your life.
That was your closing?
Sorry, that's
all right.
That's awesome. Now, that's a great way to end the call this month. Thank y'all for joining us. Hope that encourages you. Thank you for all the kind comments, too. I've been watching them come in.
Just keep up with that. Just write that down. They just came pouring out.
Wow.
It was
I
awesome.
should write a book.
There you go. At least this is being recorded. You can go back and write it all down.
That's true. That is true.
That's right. All right. Well, everyone have a great rest of their month. And you can reach out to us anytime. You can go to visionpossible.net, fill out the contact form. Coaching information is on there as well. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. But until next month, see you guys later.
All right.
See you guys.
Happy Easter.